Family Pinball is the most complicated pinball game I think I've ever seen. Most pinball video games offer you a table, maybe multiple tables if they're feeling generous, and in some rare instances, you might find a second special mode. Family Pinball has 4 game modes on 7 tables, with 6 selectable characters, each of whom has a different effect on the playfield. And each of the game styles can have their own sub-modes as well. There's a ton to unpack in Family Pinball. The 6 characters that you choose from are all characters from other Namco games. They're arranged in this grid of 6, and the characters on the left-hand side have large flippers, while the characters on the right-hand side have small flippers, and they're also arranged in the order of flipper strength, from top to bottom. There's no difference in scoring if you take a more challenging character, so there's no reason to not take the strongest one. Your character choices are Pac-Man, Torosuke from Yokai Dochuki, Kagekyo from Genpei Tomaden, Momo from Wonder Momo in what I believe is her only Famicom appearance, Valkyrie from Valkyrie no Boken, and Kai from Tower of Jiraga and Kai no Boken. For most of these characters, the only time you'll see them is on the character select screen or when they get beaten in a game. The first of the game modes is a standard pinball table. It's 2 screens tall, and has just about the most basic layout of basic layouts. The only significant feature on the table is if you can hit all 3 of the drop-down targets on the right-hand side, it'll lock the rotating prize in place, and then striking it causes an effect in the bonus lane. If you do it with the key, then a path appears in the bonus lane that takes you to an extra table where you just hit ghosts. The only positive thing I have to say about this pinball table design is it's better than the pinball table built into Baby Pac-Man. The shots on this table in Family Pinball just don't line up cleanly, a problem that's made worse with variable flippers. There isn't even anything especially creative with the layout of the elements. This is the kind of layout you get when people who don't play pinball design a table. In contrast, I like the second mode a lot. This one's a throwback to what pinball was like in the days before electromechanical pinball machines. Kind of the precursor game to what forked into both pinball and pachinko. You launch your ball up, and your goal is to get it to come to rest in any of the holes on the board. It's a gambling game, so you have to bet money before you start, and your payout is determined by how many times you get 3 in a row. You have flippers at the bottom, so you could always launch these balls back up and try to find the right hole. Doing well enough in this mode will unlock additional features for the other game modes. The third mode is a pinball battle where 2 players take control of flippers on either side of a playfield. Player 1 always controls the red flippers, player 2 controls the blue flippers. There's 3 different tables in this mode: Bomber, Thunder, and Attack. Thunder's the easy one. It's a wide open playfield with a couple of channels to go through. On the Bomber table, there's some targets that you can hit that have an effect on your opponent. The bomb will make the ball eventually explode, the skull will make flippers disappear, and the lightning makes flippers stop functioning altogether. The Attack table has something similar, but less annoying. Help raises a blocker between the flippers, while Stop adds a kickback to the out lane, and Attack places a moving blocker on the field. I can't say I really care for this game mode a whole lot. The divided playfield doesn't feel quite right, and you change which side you're on after every ball. Also, the problems with the pinball gameplay in Family Pinball are really amplified on these 2. The physics problems with the game seem to show up a lot more often here. You'll see the ball get stuck into awkward places, or bounce in ways that just don't seem right. The 4th and final mode is the sports mode, and there's 2 tables here: soccer and hockey. But the principle's the same for both of them. You want to knock the ball into the opponent's goal, and your flipper will spin either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on if you hit button A or B, while you can move the flipper and the goalie back and forth by hitting left and right. The ball can go around the goal, and you might have to hit up and down to kick it back in. Getting a feel for knocking the ball in with that rotating flipper is a real challenge, especially as the ball often zooms right past you. You really can't aim, you just have to play defense. Family Pinball has one special feature that we haven't seen in any pinball game yet. You can nudge the table. In the regular pinball modes, hitting right on the D-pad nudges the table to the right, while hitting the B button nudges the table to the left. If that seems backwards, picture it as though you're hitting the side of the machine. There's no tilt though, so you can go crazy with the nudging. You'll actually have to use the nudging sometimes. The physics in this game are so bad, I had the ball get stuck on multiple occasions. I have to say that Family Pinball is a very full-featured pinball game that is let down by the fact that they weren't very good at making a pinball game. Having multiple characters with different flipper abilities is a really bad idea. It means you can't build your table around having certain shots. And it's not like the characters are balanced anyways. Pac-Man is the best, period. And then you have to decide if you want to handicap yourself. And the two-player battle modes that make up the majority of Family Pinball's content are barely functional. And as long as I'm complaining, I've got to mention that the stickers included in the box make absolutely no sense. I guess the woman's the mascot, but none of that stuff has anything to do with pinball. She doesn't even appear in the game itself. Family Pinball isn't the worst pinball game that we've seen on the Famicom, but it's a good example of the failings of video pinball in the 1980s.